Hello everybody, welcome back, as ever, to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods and things generally tend to explode. And... okay, so last week was a relatively short stream, because we spent the entirety of it trying to get literally anything to work in Forge 1.16, and since then, I have been able to make a fair bit of stuff work in 1.16. With one exception. So, you see this big hunk of text right here that goes on pretty much for the entirety of time that I had the client up? That happens every single time I try to boot the client. Barring one particular circumstance that I managed to find out about 15 minutes before this stream started. And... you might have noticed that in the course of last stream, there was an issue wherein I couldn't get anything to boot in the course of that entire stream. And then after that, suddenly it miraculously started working. I found out why it was so miraculous. It's because this whole thing is not caused by Minecraft. Would you like to take a guess what it is that actually causes this? Because the answer is XSplit, the program that I'm using to stream. So, literally, I cannot program anything here and test it as long as XSplit is live. So, today's gonna be mostly exploratory. You can turn that off? Oh goody, do tell me how. Like, DM me, please. For the love of God, please. That's a kind of... being able to test things is kind of integral to this. Yeah. Oh, thank you for the subs, guys. For 10 months. Wow, almost a year. You come to OBS's desktop capture. Uh-huh, right. But anyways. Mostly I have been working on settlements this past week, which means I've been getting things to render on the client side, so I can now actually render a room. It's a little hacky, it doesn't work in third person for whatever reason, and for whatever reason it changes color when you turn off your HUD. But it's there, at least. Still needs some work, but graphics are my massive weakness, we all know. I've gotten the packets for actually updating settlement data client side and such. Though for whatever reason, this packet handler throws out an error whenever it tries to send a message, so it works, but it floods the console as near as I can tell. I would show you these things, had I the option. Other than that, not a lot has happened. We do have sounds, once again, so our kobolds do sound like grumbly little puppies again, which is nice. And... pretty much nothing else has changed. Eggs are functional, although I haven't let one run for 20 minutes to find out exactly, but they're there. Materials on the blocks are all functional. We've got kobold eggs as well as inert kobold eggs, which are purely decorative and don't have a tile entity. We have moss, which is the things that you find in, I guess, strictly speaking, it's more like kelp, but you find it in the oceans, and it's the thing that Mario are found through. We've got the scale layers, which we previously, in the 1.12 version, had added by eggs hatching. Those are now a thing again. Annoyingly, you can't create your own block materials. I really, really wish that I could fix that. But basically here we have all of the boss materials. So all of the block materials, and you'll note it's public final, which means you cannot extend from materials. So I can't just create my own class that extends from and create new stuff. Annoying. Then the actual creator through here is also itself private, so I can't actually access it in any fashion. Believe me, I've tried. So it's unfortunate that I can't just make custom things, which then means bizarrely, that the scale layer's block material is that of seagrass. It's very weird, that, but it works. It has all the properties I need, so bleh, why not? But anyways, today I was hoping to mostly be working on the kobolds, because they don't currently have anything even remotely resembling AI. There's not a single reference to AI in this code. And obviously, they need AI to be able to look around and wonder and lay eggs and whatnot. So, we actually need that. We do need, for instance, the capacity to tell them to go to a room, which is an integral part of their egg-laying behavior, as well as the behavior of any kind of settlement, like, integrated, I guess would be the phrase, entity. So, yeah. But yeah, the boss image there is hecked up, and I don't know why. Just started doing that, so, but there it is. Let me see. Settings. Just gonna bring this over here so Flying can yell at me. Let's see. Enable game source. Disable capturing DirectX OpenGL. That one? Vulkan I've never heard of. So I'm guessing that's fine. XSplit needs to restart. I thought that might be the case. Oh well. So yeah, we're gonna leave that alone for right now, and I will reboot it during my I will reboot that during my break. So that means I will go offline badly during my break, but that's fine. That's fine. So okay. Let me grab another window of XSplit of Eclipse. Yes, that's fine. The 112.2 code is also still blocked because I haven't touched it in like a week, because I'm trying to get a version of Various Oddities in 1.16 out within the like first couple of weeks of February. Trying to get that going. This is gonna complain when it fully boots up in a hot second, but it should be fine. Let's see, here is the Kobold Parade, which is one of their most popular features, and I would like to get going. But yeah, so all of that. We also don't have any kind of GUI currently, so we have the drafting table that's used to, define rooms before you add them to commands. We also don't have the commands at all. I have a to-do list over here. All of this stuff I want to have implemented before we get to 1.16, and by the time we get down to about this part, all of it should be straightforward. Don't necessarily need to have creature types, don't necessarily need to have faction reputation, but everything else, if we can get this chunk done, that's the bare minimum. After that we can just add goblins, scorpions, and rats fairly easily. So yeah. Let's start. Yep, there you are. Thought you'd say that. Aha, that's what I thought you'd say. Alright. Let's start by actually looking at what the AI code is like in 1.16, because I have a distinct sensation that they have utterly destroyed it. Right, yes, they reversed the naming scheme, so my brain is having to reorganize where everything is. What's a good example? A sheep. A sheep should be a good, simple example here. So there are registered goals. Now it annoys me to no end that they have called these goals. I hate that. Because there's a very goal is a very specific term inside of AI, and these are not goals. These are behaviors. These are actions. Goals are what your artificial intelligence system tries to do, like it tries to reach. These aren't doing anything. These aren't achieving anything. Like goal-oriented action planning, it's trying to accomplish a thing using a series of constructed actions. Usually very short sequences, but these are not goals, and that annoys me. Anyways. Look randomly goal. This I presume to be the equivalent of entity AI base, and yes it is. Okay, abstract. Alright. Move, look, jump is now its own thing? Interesting. Okay, so mutually exclusive flags, which are the things that let you say that this behavior is allowed to run concurrently because they're not using the same like properties. Okay, has changed to an enum-based system as opposed to metadata. Okay. Hearing me annoyed on stream is odd. Is it? Happens a lot on this stream. Yeah, like these should be actions or behaviors. These should not be called goals. But bleh. Anyways. You fall asleep for most of these? Oh. Now, most people come to these to see me annoyed. Okay, so it looks... Should execute, should continue, start, and tick, which would be update originally. Synonyms, for the most part there, that's fine. Yeah, this looks to be largely the same, so we shouldn't have too much trouble converting over. That today is using mob entity instead of entity creature or something, but I don't know if creature entity even still exists. Yep, creature entity exists, what do you know? Interesting. You make me feel safe and comfy and sometimes I snooze. Also, I talk about programming, which puts most people asleep, including me occasionally. Okay, so looking at the sheep entity, there is the register goals. And then that is essentially it. We might be able to implement entity controllers again. I don't foresee a huge problem with that. It mostly remains a question of whether the goals added into the goal selector are actually... I'm gonna throw up in my mouth every time I say that. Okay. It mostly is a matter of whether the goal selector will actually let us retrieve goals. Or tasks, I should say. Let's see, goals. Yes, set prioritized goal. Okay, that's good. And we can remove them if we can retrieve them. Good. Okay, that means our entity controller code can still work. You had to shovel the balcony? I'm presuming it has snowed quite heavily where you are, Bridge, because generally speaking, shoveling is something that happens on ground level. Whereas a balcony isn't usually at ground level. It's usually elevated. Okay, so our controllers can still work. That's good because it should mean that we can implement our hatchery guardians again without having to do anything too horrific. Good. Alright. So let's start by checking. Are you cold? I presume you're cold somewhere, else the sheep doesn't do anything. Called by mob entity. Okay. I'm guessing mob entity is somewhere under here. Creature. Mob. Living. And then entity. They changed this up so much, I don't know why. It's mostly it's mostly the same, except that they didn't, like, mob entity used to be like used for monsters expressly. So I don't get me, it's weird. Okay. Let's get our kobolds. I have also, by the by, been stoically ignoring the naming change in my code over here. So you can see we still have anti-kobold as opposed to kobold entity or anti-marimo and anti-oddity and all that sort of stuffs. Like, it's all named properly. Super to sub. Your sheltered balcony had a depth of snow of about 4 inches. Its shallowest bunch of snow. Wow. That is a lot of snow. Okay. Let me see. I'm not currently extending out of entity oddity here, so we don't presently have access to the functions of checking if something is functional according to its config. Then again, we also don't currently have a config. So that's not a huge problem. So for now, I'm just going to say protected bridge to goals. Does that get called? Yes, in mob entity. Good. Right. Mob entity now appears to be basically everything, and living entity appears to be the part where it diverges from players. But then I don't know why there's creature entity on top of that. It's a little odd. But always was. Let's start goal selector, I'm guessing. Yep, there you are. Yeah, stinking piece of misnamed architecture. Okay. We're just gonna say look at and look randomly. Those are the two we're gonna ask for right now. Right, yes, they don't use proper tabs. Ugh. But this is a... Okay. Here's the thing. Tabs versus spaces is a long-standing... I would say it's a debate, but really it's more of an argument inside of programming. There are people who will, like, space, like, 3 times to indicate, and to, like, inset, like this. I was always taught to use tabs. So anywhere that I've typed, there are tabs. Which is basically the same thing, but it's about 5 spaces. I don't know where exactly this distinction happened, where exactly in programming history this became contentious, but I use tabs. 4 equal to 4 spaces? Okay, thank you for letting. I did say about. I wasn't going for specificity, because it's just a bizarre, absurd little thing. You can give me the whole talk? Can you, flying? I presume it's something extremely base. Like how much space it takes up on a drive or something. Because it is, at the very least, it's very old, so, bleh. Okay, so enum set off, flag move, flag look, gotcha, right. Let's wholesale copy one of our AI tasks and see if we can't convert it. Because if we can convert it, it'll save us a lot of time. Compared to rebuilding from scratch. So there's Kobold Parade, right there. Arguably the most important piece of kobolds. They don't currently have held equipment in their rendering, but... Thanks, guys. Nearly failed one of your uni courseworks because the program you're writing it in defaulted to tabs that presses auto-check and recepts use spaces only. Oh. Yeah, that's the kind of things that happen when you have situations of distinct, standards, I guess. Okay, so entity living base we can change to living entity. Or mob entity, even. But living should suffice. We will make it mob, actually, just because that's one step delineated from away from that's beyond the branching points of the genetic tree from players. And that's the part where we get players involved. If you didn't know, if you are holding a pride flag during a kobold parade, they will include you in it when they are trying to find the parade leader. Right, these can't be. They must be a living entity, or else that will not function. So this needs to be a living entity. I can't test literally any of this because I can't boot the client, hopefully, until after we fix things up. Now is Parade Leader is a mob entity. Aha, that's where it came in. Okay. Is mob entity used literally anywhere else? Like, have hecked up. Nope. That could be mob entity, actually. Tabs are nicer to use when making things look neat, so yeah, agreed. I don't honestly know if there... I don't remember at the very least if there was very much concern about it in my days, but... Let's see... Where is flag? Do I not have flag? Could have sworn I had flags in here. I'm fairly certain I showed them off, in fact. Where are they? Where have our flags gone? Yeah, there they are, right there. Where have they gone? Apparently they just got removed. It's interesting. Okay then. Right, I guess we just don't have them as an item. Okay, so in that case we need to check if the main item, if the handheld item is an instance of item held flag. Technically speaking, held flag is built with the provision that there will be non-pride flags, or I guess more like a white flag would still be under the class, would still be under the class item held flag, which I guess is a kind of pride in your life, but you know. But right now it's all pride, so we don't much mind. Okay, so we get that. Check if it's June. We need to fix that up. Okay, this needs to be tick because they changed it. If there's any more occurrences of that, let's just change it than that. Okay. Vec 3D has been changed to Vector 3D because apparently the folks over at Mojang do not comprehend contractions. Brings out a black flag. I don't know, pirate flags I guess are a thing. I don't particularly want to include any kind of national flag. Like, pride is one thing, but when we get to the point of nationalism, we have issues. And it's very easy to get there. It's a very short walk. Okay, so the mutually exclusive bits on this, I believe, need to be... Let's see if it's... What is the value at 1? Let's find out. Because it means specific things. Right, yes, of course. Now I need to remember what order the bits were. So let me see. Pretty sure it's motion. Pretty sure it doesn't mind if we're looking around at places. Because we do interact with look helper, but I don't think that's vital. Oh, I need to remember to do that. Sans goal. Heretic. So much heresy in this. Ugh. Let's see. Mutex flags. Enum set dots of. Let's see. Enum set dots. Actually, it's enum flag. Or is it just flags? What have they decided to name this? Goal.flag. Okay. Move is the only one that we actually care about here. Is it not? Nope, it is that, but what? Evidently there's more than one. Let's see, utils. There you go. Okay, Look Helper. What have you been renamed to? Look Controller. That's like when they promote you to Senior Regional Manager rather than actually promoting you to somewhere meaningful. It's like, oh, you're no longer the Junior Regional Manager, you're actually now the Senior Regional Manager. It comes with a, like, 0.2% pay rise and a parking spot. That's slightly closer to the door. At least those values are fine. Okay. Now, the next thing that we want to try and do is move slightly closer, or to within a position, of the parade leader. That's how this works. And that has been renamed inappropriately, because it got capitalized when we changed it. Meanwhile, you're the only manager. Yeah, there is in fact no one else at regional manager level. Okay, now annoyingly, position values in entities were made private, so I can't reference them directly anymore, which breaks a lot of code, but what I can do, because apparently they're pedants on this, let's see, leader X equals parade, leader. What I can do is get the individual values of this vector one by one. I don't know why they did that. I really, really don't know. But they did. I can get the whole thing from get position vec, but just like, why? I could have just referenced it and changed it. I did. It's very weird. Okay. Can I shorten this? If I can get them as a vector anyways, then I don't necessarily need to construct a vector. I would hope. But I will still need to do that here. Now, I will note that this is try move. This is not forcing them to move that way. This is actually engaging their navigator. So if the point that we select is somehow like unavailable, let's like say it somehow calculates a position inside of a brick wall, for instance, then there's no chance they'll somehow be inside of a brick wall. It doesn't teleport them. They just walk around. Now, let's see. Vector 3D, leader post equals parade, leader position vector. Let's have a look at you. It does return the position vect. Okay. I need to be careful then that I don't accidentally alter it. Is there a clone, perchance? Nope. Duplicates. Copy. There you are. Copies the coordinates of an int vector exactly. Oh, okay, let's leave that be for the time being. We can't test this right now anyways. Okay. Kobold position. So there's our two. Now, if I remember correctly, what we should be able to say is leader position, subtract kobold position, and that does this big long chunk for us. That is our direction vector. And if we normalize that, then it gets reduced to being 1 point long, which is very helpful. Because then we can just take that and multiply it by whatever value we like, and we get a vector in the exact same direction of a correct length. Meaning if we then apply that to our kobold's position, that we now have a position relative to our kobold. Which is what we're looking for. Okay. Checking if it is currently June. Can we find the system time here anywhere? Possibly not from the world. Let's see. What would be a good example of this, I wonder? Well, we could check the rendering code of skeletons and zombies and whatnot, or chests, and see where they reference the time. The trouble is that might only be client-side now, because those are only visual. So let's see, skeleton entity. I'd also probably do by checking through the items for the item for a pumpkin. Can just use Java util calendar? Can, but I'm curious how they do it here. Because if they've changed it, then I can yell some more. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in here. So that means it's probably in the renderer. Okay. Biped armor layer. Skeleton model. Okay. Let's see. Items. Blocks are in here, because you need to define them sticking in there for some reason. Interesting. Not referenced anywhere anymore. Is it part of the model then? Yes, flying, I'm aware. I'm just curious if they're still doing this. Okay, tile entity chest renderer? Nope. Chest renderer? Nope. Chest tile entity renderer. Why? I don't know. Okay, so somewhere in here it has to get the year, well, it has to get the month to figure out what texture to use. Boolean is Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Okay, so you call calendar. Java util calendar. Exactly what you said. Flying. Okay. So if calendar get 2 plus 1 equals 12, which is to say the month in computer indexing, and calendar get 5. Okay. It's greater than or equal to 24 and less than 26. So if it's the 24th, the 25th, or the 26th, then it's Christmas. We only care about the month, because this is a month-long thing for us. Use the code the class you want is javautil.gregorian calendar. There's a specific one? Interesting. This is also from Java, but nonetheless. Okay. Doodaloo. So let's see. Calendar. Not recognized, so I would need to import that. There you are. Good. Okay. Thankfully. Thankfully, a Java util is a Java util. Let's say month equals calendar.get. The spelling of calendar has already lost all meaning. Okay. So month equals 6. We're about 30 minutes out from me being able to actually test anything, so like, Okay. Finding the leader of the parade. Yes, it is index from 0. I mean, I guess that part. Although I guess expecting sensibility out of the ordering of a calendar is asking a bit much, considering October is the 10th month and whatnot. Anyways, is there... yeah, there we go. Get bounding box. Okay. That seems to not have any errors right now, which is yay. Yeah. First for the month for pixel bits petting and to make some noise to the pooping. Aw. Thank you very much for all of these bits there, Esper. For those who are wondering, it is currently LGBT month in the US, as far as I'm aware. It's also Black History Month. In England, here, for at least the time being, as long as England remains to be an extant entity, LGBT Pride Month and whatnot is June, which is the month I was born. So, yeah. That had to happen, I guess. June here too? Oh, really? Netherlands has Pride Month in August? Ooh, it's a bit chilly. Pretty sure the US is June as well? Oh, interesting, interesting. I'm really odd one as it predates the US and UK traditions. Okay, let's shove this into our cobalt and see what we get. Well, we can't see what we'll get, but we'll add it to them, and then hopefully we'll find out after the break if it works. Alright, so it is priority 2, and there is the speed value, or how rapidly they will parade. If indeed we get everything working properly and booting, then we'll be able to start adding controls again. Okay. Well, nothing is screaming at me. Just start. August is prime summer weather? Oh, here in the UK that's getting a bit nippy, as it were. A little bit on the chilly side, that. Okay. How do we want to go about controllers? So if you don't know, and please ignore the fact that this has like umpteen errors in it. A controller system is a basic way of having polymorphism, not just in the manner of changing something into something else, but also in having the same thing behave in various different ways. And basically what it means is you have a body, which is the creature that you see in game, and then you have a brain or a controller, and that is the thing that's deciding what that body does. The player is a fairly decent example of it because you have the in-game player, and then you have the player behind the keyboard who's actually putting in all the inputs and making them do things. They're fairly common in a lot of video games. Unfortunately, they are not present inside of Minecraft Vanilla. So to commemorate the Stonewall Riot, which took place at the end of June. Oh, very interesting. I wonder where I heard it was, right now. Is it LGBT History Month or something right now? I don't know. But yeah, so Vanilla does not have controllers currently. Maybe someday in the future. Maybe I'm just way ahead of my time, like when I implemented name tags or something. But we are implementing them because it allows us to create a whole bunch of different kobolds that do a whole bunch of different things, depending upon the context and whatnot, which is Very helpful, because it means we don't have to make like 15 different types of the same creature. Although we now have to do that for basically blocks and items. It's annoying as hell, but bleh. This isn't metadata related, so hopefully they won't just break it. So let's grab controller and let's stick it in here. LGBT History Month appears to be in October for the USA. What the... Like, I definitely heard something overlapping with Black History Month, and I cannot for the life of me remember where I heard that. Oh well. This can just be a mob entity at this stage. That can be the thing. Oh, it does not like that. Interesting. Oh, because it's implemented it somewhere else. There. Okay, good start, good start. Now, what is the targeting? Let's take a look at, for that, zombies. History Month is in February for the UK. Right. There we go. That's what I'm getting. That's how I'm getting mixed up. Yes, it's currently LGBT History Month. But in June, it'll be Pride Month. So there's like 3-4 months where we just completely forget everything. We're like, oh right, yes, we should do that. Okay, nearest attackable target. What is that rooted in? Target goal. Well, it's straightforward, I'll give you that. Okay, everything seems to be going in quite nicely. So here, we change to that. And there. Target selector. Yep. Okay, so that should be them re-implemented. Now, in 112, we have a root class in Entity Oddity that has a list of controllers, and if there are any controllers, they will root through them and manipulate the active goals. This is basically our hack way of implementing controllers, and it allows us to do fun stuff. And it's not a true controller system because we're manipulating the brain rather than changing the brain exactly. But it saves us doing a whole ton of checks and a whole ton of different things to say, if this is the case, then don't run this thing. It's easier to just say, uninstall this thing and reinstall this thing. It's much better that way. So, okay, there's that. Let's now grab controller Kobold. Which again, will have a whole ton of errors, because of course it does. And Kobold Parade is now there. Good. Those are the default stats of the Kobold, and here are the default stats of them when they are a Hatchery Guardian, which is they have 25 health and a follow range of 35. They're not meant to be heavily beefy. These are very low level creatures. But okay, Operate Room is one we're definitely going to need. Let's see if we can find that one. Inside of our source code over here. Let's see, there's Operate Room. Okay, change that to goal, change that to mob entity. Path navigate. Ooh, what have they changed that to, I wonder? Who knows? Okay, there. does that return? Path Navigator. Are you kidding me? Oy vey. The tiniest things sometimes, really is. There. Okay. And for this, we want to, once again, set the motion one. So let's see, goal, flag, move. Okay. Now what does the goal selector call the things that it puts in there? Out of curiosity. Prioritized goal is what it calls them. There must, let's see, there's a list of, there's the running ones. Oh, that's annoying. I'm presuming that this is specifically the ones that are active, which makes sense to have in their own list, but we need to be able to see them when they're not. Because obviously, the point of this function is it is called by rooms to say, tick this box on the AI and flip it on. Like, it's just, it turns on the, like, behavior so that the mob will go and actually do it. But if we can't find it, if we can't iterate through them all, then we can't actually do that. Oh dear. Yeah, and they're private as well. But then how would you... That would mean you would... Yeah, check to see if they're running. I don't suppose stream is an accessible function. I might be able to filter that one. That is visible. Okay, we might be able to use that. That's how they get it. Except I don't see it anywhere, which is worrying. Okay, right. Well, we will get to more of this in about 10 minutes when I get back from break. Now, reminder, there will be a brief loss of transmission whilst I reboot XSplit. So, fingers crossed, that helps us actually boot anything. But I will catch you momentarily. Oh, right. I have a window open here, don't I?